Hops, and I want to talk about Superman, particularly the New 52 Superman in comic books. And it's a trend that's still happening now, and that is there's no editorial constraints. I don't understand. So I read the new Batman and the Tim Drake, that's the sidekick of Robin in Batman 130, does not match, look, act anything like the Tim Drake that has his own series. Makes no sense. But coincidentally, I'd gone back to Flashpoint and I wanted to see how it set up New 52 because I'm curious now that Henry Cavill's out of the mix. James Gunn's wanting to do younger Superman. He's dropped little hints along the way. They have literally pulled from New 52 for most things. Like Shazam is literally pulled right from it. And then they just deleted Black Adam because The Rock wants to battle Superman and not Shazam, blah, blah, blah. Different video for that. So I'm like, let me read the Superman New 52. So Action, Superman, and Justice League. I know there's Superboy, Supergirl, Batman. So let me just start with 3. And I'm only like in the first year of the series. It is absolute chaos. Like I cannot imagine why a new reader would stick around for the shenanigans that they pulled on customers. I don't remember reading. I remember reading the Justice League because the movie is lifted right from the first few issues that Jeff Johns wrote, because he's literally the one writer who's in a completely different level than everyone else that's writing for this stuff, right? Grant Morrison, who's on Action. I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. I love Grant Morrison. I loved All-Star Superman. This is going to be pretty good. I'm going to be excited. Okay, so we do Flashpoint. And Flashpoint resets the universe. Flash kind of puts things back together again. So I'm like, okay, let me start with Action. And Morrison is taking us back to basically like a really young Superman that no one's used to. I'm not sure exactly how long he's been around. Look at this. Look at the cheesiness. He's in a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. I mean, actually, there's a gag that comes along in one of the issues where he goes to a t-shirt printer wanting this label. He wants like 200 shirts made. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Okay. This is Action Comics, right? Okay, so I'm like, I'm not enjoying it. It wasn't terrible. And I could see them going in this direction. But then meanwhile, over in Superman, George Perez, the great late George Perez, his Superman has this suit, which is way more advanced with the boots and some armor here and the fancy belt and all this stuff. Completely different tone, completely different perspective. Nothing matches at all. Okay. And I'm like, well, what? So I'm reading along and George only does a few issues and they switch. Dan Jurgens takes over. I kid you not, Dan inserts the fact that he has Superman, Kryptonian, nanotech, suit tech. So the t-shirt, he touches it, and this is what happens. He transforms into this. I'm like, you've got to be effing kidding me. Why would so the entire concept of pulling open the shirt, having a fancy it's no nanotech, total Iron Man ripoff nonsense. Oh my God. I could not believe this. Meanwhile, back on Action, this is the contrast. So in the other book, you're having a nanotech suit, and then in Action, you're supposed to expect to spend $4 to buy Superman and jeans and a t-shirt. It's going to get worse because after 4 or 5 issues, they have this random issue that starts talking about the origins. The random issue for this, they just completely sidetrack on stuff. And this is how the editor's like, I don't understand why you would be able to do this. And then issue number 9, I kid you not, you talk about propaganda. They do a Superman. So Lois, Clark, and Jimmy go through some portal or something and end up in this alternate universe where this is Superman. Superman is an insert of President Obama, to the point that he not only looks like Obama, he is the president. The president is Superman of this earth. That's how lame this has gotten. Like I I was like, what in the name of holy Hannah are we talking about? I don't, what? I mean, I've seen this book, like Calvin Ellis. There's talks about doing a black Superman. I'm like this, and it was complete garbage tripe for this, for the president to be the Superman. It makes no sense. Yeah, I don't understand. Meanwhile, over at Justice League, from day one, this is Jeff Johns and Jim Lee. This is the Justice League coming together. So the first year or so represents the first 5 years of the Justice League. They run across the alien tech and the mother boxes and that kind of thing, just like the movies. And they go to find, quote, Superman because he's an alien. And they end up having to fight him because Superman's basically like feels threatened. And look at how he's drawn. Traditional Superman. I will admit, I really hated Jeff Johns' Superman. There's a line about he's just always hovering in the background. He's not really a co-leader with Batman, Batman being the strategist and Superman being more like the Captain America type with hope and motivation, and then using all of their talents in different ways. The first few the first few issues represent what the Justice League movie should have been without Steppenwolf. We didn't need to have a standalone Green Lantern movie. Him here, it's very simple. Him being added, and everything centering around him. Cyborg gets a very quick backstory. It would have been easy to include this. It was just like, this is what I think the movie should have been before it got meddled through the studio and through Snyder, because Snyder's not interested in making this anyway, right? The studio didn't want an Aquaman like that. They wanted Jason Momoa for some reason. Makes no sense that he looks like that, but that's what they wanted, right? I was like, okay, so I got jeans and t-shirt Superman. I have nanotech Superman, and then I have what is kind of like early version of the real Superman. Like this actually is like Superman. And then I'm like, well, okay. So I'm just confused. Like, what was the point of Flash? What did Flashpoint send us back to? I don't understand. Because in a few issues, Superman, there's a cheetah episode, and Superman gets bit by cheetah. Literally, cheetah can bite Superman. Like his super skin can repel bullets and fire and everything else, but cheetah can just bite him. Is it because she's magic? Because it's clearly not explained well, whatever they decided to try to come up with for an explanation. Okay. So here's my thing. What on earth are we going to get? The answer is, I don't have any faith. I just don't yet. There are other issues to read. I know I'm not very far. I kind of went ahead a little to the Scott Lobdell. It was terrible. I went a few issues on this, few issues on that. I know Johns comes back to Superman, either the main Superman or the action title. That's supposed to be pretty good. Maybe they won't do New 52. Maybe they'll do something else. How can they try to tout how great the industry is when they have 3 versions of the character on the character's main title not matching? With no explanation, by the way. No explanation. There's like a random reference in Superman, like issue 6 or something, that refers to something that happened in action, like, several months ago. So it's somehow supposed to be connected. And maybe I'm just too dumb. Maybe that's it, right? Pops is just too dumb. I actually expect comics that are interwoven. I don't need it to be action number 3 ends and then it continues in Superman 8 and it crosses over with I don't need it to be that, but I need the Superman that is in this universe to at least match. Like if you want to tell flashback stories and things like that, then you need to have the reader understand it was X number of years. And then you need to explain, what was the point of Flashpoint then? Did Flashpoint reset something for Superman? And why are we having the Justice League just now getting together? Yet, the worst part is when you try to revisit stuff like this, I wanted to give it as much benefit of the doubt as I could. I want good Superman. They've just fired a Superman that the fans love. They want to make young Superman. We don't have much to go on. I'm trying to be patient. And I'm also trying to be fair with some of the other continuity and stories that I'm not as familiar with or haven't read in years. Because Flashpoint, I have not read, in years. So, what a freaking mess. It's how I felt. And I don't know what to tell us. I don't know what to say other than I just don't have any better warm, fuzzy feelings about Superman at all. That's my take. I'm going back to my Batman love with my outro.